Justin Verlander didn't just throw a no-hitter. He held an entire game hostage until Abraham Toro paid the ransom. This is Astro 64, Justin Verlander. The Justin Verlander episode, we're going to September 1st, 2019, Rogers Center, Toronto. The Astros came in at 88 and 49, 9.5 games clear in the American League West, and just one game behind the Yankees for the best record in baseball. So they weren't a desperate team trying to survive. This was a machine trying to lock down home field advantage and sharpen everything just in time for October. Now, Houston won the World Series in 2017 and reached the ALCS in 2018. Now, Cole and Verlander fronted a roster that made an ordinary Sunday game feel a little bit unfair. In Toronto, they were 55 and 82. They were deep into a rebuild, but the interesting part arrived. Bichette, Biggio, Guerrero, they're all up. The record is ugly, but the future is standing in the batter's box. So here's the question. When you watch a game like this, when do you stop watching the score and start watching the zeros? Verlander's also coming off a weird outing against Tampa Bay. He'd been ejected after 5.5 innings for arguing balls and strikes. 6 days later, he got the ball with a chance to win his 17th game. Well, he did a little more than that. Justin Brooks Verlander, born February 20th, 1983, in Mannequin-Sabat, Virginia. He grew into a 6'5" right-hander with the kind of arm that makes scouts stop pretending to be calm. At ODU, Old Dominion, Verlander became the school's all-time strikeout leader with 427 in 335 and one-third innings. Two-third innings, sorry. Detroit took him second overall in the 2004 draft, and he reached the major leagues by July 4th, 2005. By 2006, he was the American League's Rookie of the Year, and in 2007, he had his first no-hitter against Milwaukee at Comerica Park. That one announced the raw force of the young Verlander, upper 90s heat, and the confidence enough to challenge everybody. Then came 2011, and he went 24 and 5 with a 2.40 earned run average, won the pitching Triple Crown, and took both the AL Cy Young Award and the MVP. Starting pitchers rarely win MVP awards. Verlander made it hard to argue against. He threw his second no-hitter that season, also in Toronto, so Rogers Center wasn't just another road ballpark for him. It was already part of his personal mythology. Then his career bent. Injuries and declining velocity made it look, for a while, like the overwhelming version of JV had passed. But he rebuilt his body, adjusted his delivery, and learned how to create a different sort of dominance. Fastball still had life, but now he worked it up into the zone. The slider got meaner. Detroit traded him to Houston at the waiver wire deadline on August 31st, 2017. JV immediately went 5-0 down the stretch, won the ALCS MVP as the Astros reached and won their first World Series. The trade didn't rescue a finished pitcher. It introduced the second version of a Hall of Fame career. How many players decline, then come back as a different kind of great? By September 1, 2019, Verlander's 36 and locked in a Cy Young race with his own teammate, Cole. He wasn't hanging around on reputation. He was still hunting at the top of the sport. And the first inning was the hardest one Verlander had. He needed 21 pitches. Biggio drew a 5-pitch walk with 1 out. And that's something Craig Biggio's kid. That spoiled the perfect game immediately, and it brought Guerrero to the plate with a runner aboard. Verlander struck him out. That walk would be Toronto's only base runner all day. Houston didn't exactly jump on Jay starter Wilmer Font either. Aledmus Diaz doubled to begin the second and reached third base with 1 out, but Robinson Chirinos flew out to end the threat. Font was serving as an opener for Toronto, so Sam Gaviglio took over in the third. Then Zach Godley arrived in the sixth. Houston still couldn't score. Meanwhile, Verlander kept getting stronger and stronger. He had 8 Ks through 5 innings. His fastball was sat between 93 and 97, and Toronto kept swinging under it. He generated 23 swinging strikes, including 15 on the four-seamer. By the end of the 8th, JV had 12 strikeouts and no hits allowed, and the score was 0-0. That's what makes this game breathe. Every Houston out threatened to take the ending away. Verlander finished the 8th at 106 pitches. A.J. Hinch told him the 9th would almost certainly be his last inning. But would there even be a bottom of the 9th worth pitching? Alex Bregman led off against former Astro Ken Giles and dropped a ball beyond first base. Biggio made a diving attempt, couldn't quite reach it, and Bregman wound up at second with a double. Yordan Alvarez struck out. Diaz flew to center and moved Bregman to third. 2 outs. Abraham Toro came up. Toro's born in Canada. He's a rookie. He'd entered the day with 1 major league home run. Giles threw a 1-1 fastball, and Toro drove it over the wall in left center field. Suddenly, Houston led 2-0, and Verlander had 3 more outs to chase history. A question for the chat, if anyone's here. What would you rather have in that moment? A 5-run cushion or exactly 2 runs, so every pitch still feels dangerous? Brandon Drury grounded out to Bregman on three pitches. Reese McGuire swung through a slider for strike 3, and that left Bichette, 21 years old. Bichette was only 7 when Verlander debuted. He'd struck out twice, but now he worked the count full and fouled off 2 more pitches. On the 7th pitch, Bichette hit a hard grounder towards third. Look who was standing there. Abraham Toro fielded it, threw high across the diamond, and Diaz secured it at first. No hitter. Verlander raised both arms. Chirinos reached him first. Then the Astros poured out of the dugout and swallowed him on the mound. 9 innings, no hits, 1 walk, 14 Ks, 120 pitches. Game score of 100. That's among the most dominant no-hitters of the modern statistical record. And there's an odd social rule around a no-hitter. You know the one. Everybody knows. But the pitcher's supposed to live inside a bubble where nobody says it aloud. 24,000 people share one secret with him. But Verlander knew. Of course, he knew. The real question wasn't whether he understood the moment. It was whether he could keep the moment from changing him. For 9 innings, it didn't. Verlander called the feeling elation. He also admitted he knew exactly what the third no-hitter meant. He joined Nolan Ryan, Sandy Koufax, Bob Feller, Larry Corcoran, and Cy Young as the 6th pitcher in MLB history with at least 3. He'd also become the first visiting pitcher to throw 2 no-hitters in the same ballpark, both in Toronto. Chirino said he could tell in the bullpen JB's fastball was special. Bichette, to his credit, said he honestly believed he's going to get him during that final plate appearance. That's what you want, right? The veteran knowing history is 1 pitch away, and the kid genuinely believing he can wreck the whole thing. Toro owned both ends of the finish. His home run gave him the lead, then his throw completed the no-hitter. Verlander said seeing everybody lose their minds with him made it better. It wasn't a quiet, personal milestone. The whole team got inside it. Houston kept rolling. They finished 107 and 55, setting a franchise record for wins and securing the American League's best record. They survived Tampa Bay in 5, then beat the Yankees in 6 when Jose Altuve, remember him, walked off the ALCS. The World Series went 7 games against Washington. And Houston led Game 7 at home, but the Nats came back and took the title. The greatest regular season in Astros history ended 1 win short. Toronto finished 67 and 95. That earned the 5th pick in the 2020 draft, but the rebuild's point was already visible. Guerrero, Bichette, and Biggio were major leaguers. Verlander finished 2019 at 21 and 6 with a 2.58 earned run average, 300 strikeouts, and a 0.80 whip. He reached 3,000 career strikeouts and beat Cole for his second AL Cy Young Award. Then his arm stopped him. He made one start in 2020, underwent TJS, and missed 2021. Excuse me. At 37, with nearly 3,000 innings already on the books, that could have been the ending. Nope. Instead, he returned in 2022 at age 39, went 18-4 with a 1.75 earned run average. He won another World Series, took the Comeback Player of the Year award, and captured a unanimous third Cy Young. Oh, did you think the second act was impressive? Apparently, he had a third one ready. Later, he signed with the Mets, returned to Houston in 2023, and helped the Astros win another AL West title. Injuries dragged down his 2024 season. Then he spent 2025 with San Francisco, reached 3,500 Ks, and finished very strong despite a 4-11 record. In 2026, Verlander returned to Detroit, where the whole thing started. And on July 8th, after being selected to his 10th All-Star game as a legend pick, he announced he'll retire after the season. As of that announcement, he owned 266 wins, 3,554 strikeouts, 3 Cy Youngs, and 2 World Series rings. The kid with the impossible arm became the veteran who kept rebuilding himself, right up until he decided the story was complete. Next time we're back in St. Louis for Blue 15. It's April 20, 2019. The Blues can eliminate Winnipeg in Game 6, and Jaden Schwartz decides the easiest way to finish the series is to score every St. Louis goal himself. 3 goals, natural hat trick, a 3-2 win. Before the Cup, before Boston, and before the parade, Schwartz made sure the Blues survived the first round. Justin Verlander threw 3 no-hitters in his career, but this was the one that required his offense to save it in the 9th, and a rookie to finish both halves of the story. That's Astro 64. Justin Verlander didn't need perfection. He allowed 1 walk. But after that, Toronto got nothing. I'm the Wolf. I'll see you for Blue 15. Thanks for watching.